All right, guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 reasons why I will never work a 9 to 5 job ever again. And first things first, I want to say that I've only worked a couple 9 to 5s. I used to work fast food back when I was like 16, I believe. And then I also was a swim instructor back when I was like 17, 18, and I did work those full time. So I have a little bit of experience, but I'm going to talk about this in a second. Even just that little bit of experience of doing that for about a year really rubbed me the wrong way. And that's part of the reasons why I will never work a 9 to 5 ever again. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. The first thing is working a 9 to 5 job is the modern day slavery. Now, what do I mean when I say this? Well, slavery, that's not a topic that I want to talk too much about, but the idea behind slavery is being entrapped into thinking that you only have one option. And us as humans, we always want freedom. We always want to do what we want, when we want, how we want to. And the traditional route that I see so many people go down, it's the modern day slavery. And the main reason for that is if you ever talk to anybody and you tell them like, hey, I'm not going down this traditional route of going to college and getting a job, they look at you like you're crazy. And they say like, oh no, you should just do that because it's safe. And what that tells to me is that people are so brainwashed into thinking that this route that most people go down is the only way. Like if you have parents and you're in college, good luck ever trying to have a conversation with them that you're going to be dropping out of college. I had to do it. I actually did drop out of college at the age of 20 or 19 actually. And that conversation with my parents was not easy. Even with my business already doing decently well, that conversation is not easy at all. And the main reason because it's just because people are so brainwashed into thinking that route is the only route you can go down. And then I sit there and think of it. It's like there's 3 types of freedoms. The first is like financial freedom, obviously. The second is time freedom, and then the third is location freedom. And when you're working just like an average 9 to 5 job, you don't really get paid that much. So no real like financial freedom at all. No time freedom. Your boss tells you when you show up and when you get to leave. And then no location freedom either because you have to drive or you have to, show up in person. Whereas like for me at least, if you have like no skill sets, you're super young, I would much rather at the very least work some sort of remote job where usually for a lot of remote jobs, the financial side is not really like capped. If you perform and if you do well and you work really hard, you're going to make a lot more money. There's no real like ceiling to it. And a lot of them are in the online space. So there's good opportunity to make a lot of money. The second thing is like location freedom. I mean, I've worked an entire month in Mexico. I've worked an entire month in the Canary Islands. Like you can literally work remote and still make money. You don't have to be in this like job and then you only get vacations like 3 times a year. And then the third thing is time freedom. And this kind of can depend a little bit if you work a remote job, but usually in most cases, like people don't really care when you work as long as you get it done. Like for me at least, when I'm managing my team and working with my business partners, my team members, I really could care less if they don't do the work at a specific time of day as long as it gets done. Like they could start their day at 5 p.m. and be done by 11 p.m. for all I care. As long as they're getting shit done, it's like whatever. So by that definition, at the very least, usually working a remote job as opposed to just going down this traditional route and working an in-person job will give you those types of freedom. And by the way, if you guys want to learn a little bit more about a remote job that you can do without needing like a certification or any fancy degree or anything like that, and without having to waste 4 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars in college, just shoot me a message on Instagram. But yeah, like if you have no skills at all, I would recommend working a remote job at the very least. At least you're going to have a little bit of a hint of freedom. But if you have skills, you can usually monetize those skills and start some sort of business. That's where the real freedom really starts to kick in, where you can make a lot more money. And usually when you can make a lot more money, you can hire people, so you get a lot more time, and you definitely still have that location freedom. Again, even when I was working a remote job, I used to travel to Mexico. I used to travel to the Canary Islands. I used to travel to just like everywhere around the U.S. I think I worked at my grandma's house in Florida for like a couple weeks, just working there. And I got paid while I was on vacation because I just worked for like 3 to 4 hours a day. And then I proceeded with my vacation. So that's like the first reason is I see working a 9 to 5 job as like the modern day slavery. People are so brainwashed into thinking that it is the only way out, but it's not. The next thing is the idea of working harder on your vision than someone else's vision. And when I really sit here and think about it, I would rather work 80 hours a week, which would be roughly 11 or 12 hours a day inside of my business, working on my vision, something that I love doing, than working 40 hours a week pushing somebody else's vision. And it's like, once you come to the realization, you eventually get to this point. For me, this hit me when I saw all these people making money online, and I was like, what is going on here? You'll start to realize that anything is possible. Once you have that realization, your narrative in life flips from how can I build someone else's dream to how can I literally just build my own dream. A lot of people don't even know what they want in this life. They don't even know what their dreams are because they don't even know that anything is possible. It's crazy. Once this realization hits you though, and for me it hit me like a truck when I saw literally like 16, 17, and 18-year-olds making more than doctors online. I'm like, what is going on? And I realized that anything is possible. Then, using that same logic, I'm like, why would I work for somebody else building up someone else's vision when I could build my own? And sometimes you need to work for somebody else building up someone else's vision until you can get to the point where you can build your own. Sometimes you need to do that. And that's okay. But you should always have in the back of your mind, like, I'm building my own vision. And most people as well, like when they think of what they really want, it usually doesn't involve working a job. People just think that the job is the only vehicle for them to get to what they want, which is usually some sort of financial freedom. But even then, most jobs, you're not financially free. And most cases, you don't have to work 40 years of your life at some shitty 9 to 5 job until you're 60 just to get to the point where you barely have enough money to retire. You don't have to do that. So if you don't even know what you want in this life, that's the first thing. Figure out what you want. And really sit and think about it. I guarantee you, in most cases, it's not going to be, I want to work for somebody else and build somebody else's mission. It can be. There's some people that literally are just better off working. Even for those people, though, I'd encourage them to do remote work. But yeah. And then the third thing of why I'll never work a 9 to 5 job ever again is it kind of goes to the second point, but there is so much potential out there. And when I first had my first little hit of success, I hit my first 10K per month at the age of 19. I was like, okay, I'm doing pretty well. And I almost got a little bit of sense of like pride and ego to myself when I did that. And then I started meeting people that were doing way better than me. And even like our business now, we're pushing $1 million a year pace. I know like 3 or 4 people right now, and there's thousands, but I know like 3 or 4 people right now that are doing $1 million a month, not a year, a month. So they're doing 12 times what we're doing. And like I'm sitting here thinking that we're doing pretty good. We're not. And a lot of people, they sit and compare themselves to other people, which isn't always the worst thing. but you got to be careful who you're comparing yourself to, because you're always going to think that you're doing well if you just compare yourself to the bottom of the barrel people in this world. If you compare yourself to people that are doing excellent things because you want to do excellent things, you're going to hit a realization that you're not doing good enough. And that's going to push you to do even better. And like with working a 9-to-5 job, there's only so much you can do. But once you start getting a little bit of a hint of success for yourself, you'll come to the realization that that's nothing compared to what some of these people are doing, and that you have so much to learn to get to their level. For me, again, like our company's doing about $1 million a year pace. And like, I know people that are doing a couple $1 million a month. And I'm sure once I get to that point, which I will, I'm going to know people that are doing even better than that. And I'm going to still be, like humbled by seeing seeing the potential that's out there and seeing what we can actually do as human beings. So just figured I'd come on here and drop a little bit of value. But these are the 3 main reasons on why I'll never work a 9-to-5 job ever again. Even for me at this point, if I lost everything that I had, I think I'd still figure out a way without working a 9-to-5 job. And I'm actually quite confident that if I lost everything, even my computer, my camera, my bank account, literally lost it all, I'd still be all right, and I'd be back up and running in a couple months. So don't work a 9-to-5 job. If you have no skills at all, and it's like you almost, and you don't really have any money either, I'd recommend getting a remote job first. And there's a couple things that I can help you out with so that you can do something like that. Just shoot me a message, literally on Instagram. My Instagram is trevor.gundrum, my name, just with a period in the middle. Shoot me a message and I got you. I can hook you up and help you out with that. But if you have skills and you have a skill set already, then start a business. There's a really high chance that you can monetize your skills. For me, my skill was I knew how to promote other companies really well using social media. So I started a coaching business around that back in 2020, right? So no skills, work a remote job, build your skill set up, then as fast as you can move to starting your own company when it makes sense, when the time is right, when the stars align. If you already have skills though, start your own business, get to 10K a month, then realize that you're not doing anything, then get to 50K per month, then realize that it's still nothing. So yeah, take care guys.